I told this college guy's mom that her coming into his interview cost him the job. So I work at this mid-sized marketing company, and we were hiring for an entry-level position. This kid Jake comes in for the interview, probably around 22 or 23. Nice enough guy, decent resume, seemed pretty nervous, but that's normal. We're sitting in the conference room going through the usual questions when I hear this commotion in the lobby. Our receptionist is talking to someone, and it's getting louder. About 10 minutes into the interview, my boss Linda pokes her head in and says there's someone here who insists on speaking with me about Jake's interview. I'm thinking maybe it's a reference or something, but Jake gets this look on his face like he wants to disappear into the floor. This woman in her 50s comes marching into the conference room without even knocking. Full Karen haircut, oversized purse clutched to her chest, the whole 9 yards. She introduces herself as Jake's mom and says she wants to make sure we understand what a great candidate her son is. I'm sitting there completely stunned. Jake is turning red as a tomato and mumbling, "Mom, please, we talked about this." But she just keeps going. She starts listing off his college achievements, his GPA, how he was on the dean's list, how he's such a hard worker. She even pulls out his actual diploma from her purse like she's presenting evidence in court. The worst part? She sits down in the chair next to Jake and says she'd like to participate in the rest of the interview to help him with any questions he might struggle with. Jake looks like he wants to crawl under the table and die. I tried to be polite at first. I explained that interviews are meant to be one-on-one conversations between the candidate and employer. She just waves her hand and says she knows how these things work because she's been in corporate for 30 years. Then she starts asking me questions about the company benefits, vacation time, and whether there's room for advancement. Meanwhile, Jake is just sitting there whispering, "Mom, stop," over and over again. The poor kid couldn't even make eye contact with me anymore. I finally had to put my foot down. I told her that company policy requires interviews to be conducted privately and asked her to wait in the lobby. She got all huffy about it, saying she was just trying to help her son succeed and that employers should appreciate involved parents. After she left, I tried to salvage the interview, but Jake was completely rattled. He could barely string together a coherent sentence. Every answer was apologetic and scattered. The whole energy was just ruined. When we wrapped up, I walked Jake to the lobby where his mom was pacing around, checking her watch and tapping her foot. As soon as she saw us, she jumped up and asked how it went. Before Jake could answer, she started telling me about some volunteer work he did in high school that apparently didn't make it onto his resume. That's when I decided to be direct. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "Ma'am, I need you to understand that your son lost this job opportunity the moment you walked into that interview room." Her mouth dropped open. Jake looked mortified, but also kind of relieved that someone finally said it. I explained that we're looking for independent, professional employees who can handle workplace situations on their own. Having a parent show up to an interview sends the complete opposite message. I told her that any employer would have the same reaction. She started getting defensive, saying she was just being supportive, and that maybe we weren't the right fit anyway if we couldn't appreciate family values, but I could see it in her eyes that she knew I was right. Jake apologized quietly and they left together. Through the lobby windows, I could see them having what looked like a pretty intense conversation in the parking lot. The crazy thing is, about a week later, Jake called and asked if he could interview again. He said his mom wouldn't even know about it this time. I felt bad for the kid, but I had to explain that the position was filled and that honestly, even if it wasn't, the damage was already done. He actually thanked me for being honest with his mom, said no one had ever called her out like that before, and it was apparently a wake-up call.